First up, some of the most futuristic tools we're dealing with these days are AI-driven personalized videos. Maybe you saw President Kennedy reviewing the latest Taylor Swift album and you thought that's amazing, or you thought that is terribly scary. Well, products like HeyGen can capture your image and voice in an avatar, and then you can use that to produce a video. It's a pretty great tool to help you connect with clients and potential clients on a more personalized level. And the great kicker is, especially if you have a multilingual practice, HeyGen can translate your video into any number of different languages. Let's go over, show you a little bit of how it's done. So HeyGen is just a platform on the web, so we're going to bop into their main site. So now that we're in the main site here, we have a couple of avatars that we've already uploaded, and we're going to use Zach's here to create a video. Let's say that we want to create a video that explains a little bit about what we do as an estate planning practice. So using another modern tool that we have out there, I'm going to drop over to ChatGPT, and we're going to put in a question that gives a little bit of an idea of what we might want for a short script for our video. So I'm going to pop that in. It tells a little bit about what I am as an estate planning attorney and what I'd like ChatGPT to produce for me. So I'm just going to hit the button there. It's going to generate, give us a minute, and you see it's doing some text here. It talks about how they help individuals. So I'm going to grab this text and we'll use that as our script for the video. Now I'm going to jump over to HeyGen, and let's just say I've created a project here for legal tech your clients will love. We're going to drop into that, and we're going to create a video. We're going to make it an avatar video. We're going to make it portrait mode. You'll find out if you watch our next bit of Legal Tech Clients Will Love as to why I did portrait. And we're going to choose Zach's avatar here. And we're going to give him a script. You'll see there's already a script in place, but we're going to just paste in what ChatGPT did. And it's going to fit right in. It's going to be read in Zach's voice. Let's go ahead and we'll generate that video. And we'll call it Legal Tech Your Clients Will Love. We're going to put it in our folder for legal tech. We get a choice of resolutions. The higher the resolution, the more it costs for the plan. So for our purposes, as we're just demoing this, we'll do 780. And we will turn off the HeyGen watermark, because if we wanted to use it on a website, which we'll see in our next video, we'll go ahead and hit submit. It's going to go ahead and generate that video. You see the video is pending. Depending on the plan that you've picked for HeyGen, your video gets processed at different speeds and different priorities. So it should be ready here in just a minute. Okay, our 36-second video has now generated. We could go ahead and hit play.
I'm an estate planning attorney, and I help individuals and families create wills and trusts that fit their unique needs. I offer two types of estate plans: standard plans, which provide a solid, customizable foundation for most people, and personalized plans for those with more complex situations, like blended families or heirs with special needs. My goal is to make the process simple and effective, ensuring your wishes are clearly documented and legally protected. Whether your needs are straightforward or require extra care, I'm here to help you plan with confidence.
And there you go. There is a video that Zach could put on his website telling people about the different types of estate plans he offers. Now, as we know, Zach is not an estate planning attorney, but it does look very real. And of course, hopefully you can imagine how that might come into play if you wanted to create videos for your website or your social network or your marketing, anything like that. And of course, as a video, you could just hit the download and you'd get an MP4 file that you could place on any of those sorts of locations. Next up, we have client engagement forms. These have come a long way in the last few years, but their essential role remains the same. Collecting information from either your clients, engaging prospects or potential clients, getting that knowledge from them to you with as little friction as possible so that you can help them with their legal matter. If you're using one of the great law practice management software products out there, you might already have the option for some forms from Clio Grow, for example, My Case, or perhaps Lawmatics. The one that I want to talk to you today about, though, is called Typeform, and it takes client engagement forms to a whole nother level. Let's go ahead and dive in to their interface for building questionnaires. What we see here is that we could start with a blank questionnaire, or perhaps we would want to help create a questionnaire with the use of artificial intelligence. So I click that new form button and let's create with AI. Let's say that we want to build a form that's going to help us match our skills and our capabilities with what potential estate planning clients might be looking for. So we'll go ahead and click lead qualification form. We'll give our company a name. And then based on the description I write, Typeform is going to go ahead and create some potential questions that we might want to have in that form. So I've gone ahead and pasted some text in here that talks about what kind of law practice we have. Going to go ahead and click continue. It's gone through and sort of separated the facts I've given it into different components that it will use to put in particular questions. So what is our demographic? If we had a particular geographic area we were targeting, we might want to go ahead and we could type that in. So for example, we could just highlight where it says not applicable, and we could put, say, the Chicagoland area. If we had any other information that we wanted to add to these different categories, we could just type it in, and then we'll hit generate questions. And you'll see it went ahead and it established essentially 5 questions that it thinks would be a good starting point for our lead generation form. And we can click on each one of these to see what they are. Let's go ahead and get rid of the theme box. So it's going to collect some basic facts about the individual. It's going to ask it how much money they have in their current setup, what sort of service they're looking for. Are they looking for estate planning? And then what type? We'll play with this question on another form in just a minute. And then finally, do they have any special circumstances that might require some additional specialization? Of course, you could build branching questions off of this. So if I said that I had a special needs child, we could then have additional questions come in. But these are the 5 that AI gave us right off the top. Let's go back in to the estate planning intake form that I'd started before we came together. We'll pop into that. You'll see we have some of the same information, but we have 9 questions here. Let's say, for example, if we're doing estate planning, we might not care about whether the company is associated with an individual or whether they're employed at all, for that matter. So we could take away the requirement that they answer that question, and indeed we could hide company entirely. So you certainly would want to know somebody's first name, last name, and some measure of contact information for them, but maybe we don't care about company. So we've hidden that question. And then I mentioned we would talk about the ability to have that standard plan and the personalized plan. So this is the type of question the AI created. If I'm a potential client and I come here, I'm not really sure whether I need a standard plan or a personalized plan. Of course, I could write in a description there where it says optional. That's nice. That's kind of helpful. A lot of products can do that, including some that you might already be paying for. What if instead we wanted to include a video where I was explaining to you what is a personalized plan versus a standard plan? Let's go ahead and click on the video tab. And I'm going to go ahead and add a video. Now, it would let me record one straight from my webcam, but I've already created one. I'm going to go ahead and pop in the video that I've got ready to go. If you watched our other outtakes on Legal Tech Clients Will Love, you'll know where this video came from. It's going to go ahead and upload it. And there we have Zach. And if we hit play, we will hear him explain everything that was in the video we did with HeyGen. Maybe we don't care about some parts of that video because he does a little bit of an introduction about who he is. Let me go ahead and pause that video. And we're going to go in and we want to edit that video. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the video button up here. And we've got some different options. We could change the fit, but what we want to do is we want to trim it. And I've already taken a little bit of a listen, so I know that we want to remove the first 7 seconds, and we want the video to stop at about 22 seconds. So let me move that in just a bit. I'll go ahead and hit save, and that'll do a trim on the video. And now, when it finishes processing and we hit play, Zach's going to start off right away talking about the difference between a standard plan and a personalized plan. And so that gives a nice explanation that goes beyond simply writing in the text and hoping people read it and pay attention. Just to give you an idea of what it looks like when we get a final questionnaire, I'm going to hit the preview button, and you'll see this is what it would look like on a desktop computer. I'm just going to go ahead and throw in some information. And you'll notice that question about company is gone because we hit it. And then I'm going to say, no, I don't have an estate plan. And let's make me rich. Why not? And we want to create one. And maybe we haven't worked with a law firm before. And I want to ensure financial security. And maybe I want to also preserve family harmony. And then boom, there's Zach's video. If we had a little more time, we'd adjust that logo. But this gives you an idea, and then the viewer could just play it and see how it runs. If you were doing it, as a lot of clients do these days, on a smartphone, it works just as well. So a great way to engage your clients, get the information that you need, and present it in a way that is totally approachable, even for somebody who would be more attuned to video than to, say, reading a paragraph of text explaining the difference. And of course, Typeform has a bunch of features that would let you connect this to your existing software products, as well as put on a website and so forth. So a great way to introduce people or recruit clients to your firm. Next up, we have online scheduling services. You've probably used some of these in the past. We believe that the scheduling link is here to stay. And not only is it not rude to send it, think of the time you save. I appreciate not having to do 4 or 5 emails back and forth with I was available at these times, but now I'm not. Instead, someone can just grab the link. How can you set this up in a relatively inexpensive fashion, indeed with some stuff you might already have? Well, we're going to start with the big kahuna in this market, and that's Calendly. Calendly is really great. It integrates with a ton of different products you might already use, so you can take advantage of some of those integrations to fit right into the workflows you already have. I'm going to show you how it works, especially for those of you who might have only been on the receiving end of one of these. You can create different types of events, and the one-to-one is the most common. That way you have a meeting with one other person. One other person picks a day and time that works for them. You've already cleared it on your schedule because Calendly is doing that for you automatically. There are other types you might want to have. Indeed, if you've got 3 or 4 people who might be able to evaluate a case or could meet with the client, you could create a group of people that would be available, and it would pool their available times. Let's show you what that experience is like. So if I want to set up a meeting with a client and I'm not sure when they're available, but I know, of course, when I'm available, I could just say, type in the email, grab time that works for you here. And Calendly will provide me a standard link. I could type it out if I know it, but I'm a big fan of automation, so I have a little text expansion that'll do it for me. And so that link will take them straight to my calendar. So if I were to click on that link, we'll just go ahead and open it here. And you see it takes me to my available times. And so I, as the client, could say, maybe I want a 60-minute meeting or a 15-minute meeting or a 30-minute meeting. You could, of course, give these specific names. You can also have links to individual events. So they wouldn't necessarily land on this where they have to make a choice. You could send them directly to the initial consultation or the signing ceremony or the document review or the deposition prep meeting, and they would just pick the time that's available. It does require that you do a little bit of management of your calendar so that you've, not given them all of the possible options, but that can, of course, be controlled within the Calendly system, for example. So if I create a deposition prep meeting and I only want to have people do deposition prep on Thursday morning, then the only time I make available to schedule deposition prep meetings is Thursday morning. Now, if you've taken a look at Calendly and maybe you've gone to their pricing and you thought, well, there is a nice free option. If you only have one calendar, like your entire life is on a single calendar, that might be an option. For most of us, I have iCloud and I have a work calendar, so I use the standard. Especially if you're in that one calendar camp, there are a couple of options to consider that might not necessarily require yet another subscription. So I'm going to show you in Clio Grow that you have an option to do something similar. It would be limited to the calendar that you have connected to Clio Manage, but it would live within the Grow platform. You're already paying for it. It doesn't have the same sort of outward functionality that Calendly has, but it does pretty darn well, especially for one-on-one meetings that you need to set up with perhaps client prospects. If you're on the Mac side and you want to look at something that's a little unique, you can do something similar with programs like Fantastical that will help you do that scheduling. So there are a lot of different ways to approach scheduling a meeting with a client without having to do that god-awful back and forth with the email and find out what dates are available. Encourage you to check them out, especially if you're using a law practice management program or a CRM. See if that program already offers this wonderful tool. Next up, we have AI-driven meeting recorders. So if you're someone who is always taking notes and means to put them in the right place and means to, review what happened in a meeting, let's have AI do that for you now. There are tons of products out there that offer to do this. We're going to talk about three. We're going to talk about Sonix, Teams, and Fathom. This is an area of explosive growth. When you're looking at these, of course, you always want to keep in mind what the product terms of service are to make sure that you're not running afoul of any client confidentiality or lawyer-client privilege situations. One that we really love is Fathom. We use it a lot internally and for external meetings. It connects to things like Teams and Zoom, lots of the popular web meeting apps. Let me show you an example here. So the way we use Fathom is I get a nice email with the overview of what happened in a meeting. So Zach and I had a conversation. It gave us different action items for each one of us. It even takes away the meeting purpose and tells us some of the different things and topics that were discussed. That's just the email. And you think, well, that's kind of impressive and it's time saving. Let's talk about what you get when you go to the Fathom website. So here we have the entire video there. We've got a summary, AI produced summary. So we could review basically the same things that we saw in the email. We also have a transcript. And as I scroll through the transcript, I'll scroll down just a little bit. You'll notice the video is moving along with my scrolling, and I could scroll really far down and click on something and the video would jump to that point. Very nice way of reviewing what happened, and especially if you're dealing with a complex topic, it might be useful to see both the video and the transcript side by side. And then, of course, you can ask it questions. So you could say, what are Zach's action items from the meeting? Of course, we have some of them over on the right, and it's made a guess as to what they should be, but let's go ahead and do this live and see what it says. So it came back with a review of the transcript, and it said that there are different action items that Zach might have. And as with a lot of cases with AI, you might notice a few differences between it found a total of 5 action items originally, and then when we query the system on the web, we get more than just the initial 5, and we see that Zach has several things to do beyond just the 2 it is assigned. So again, new technology. I think it's super impressive. And of course, you can set this up so it could go to your clients as well if you want. That way they have a copy of the transcript and what happens. You could also limit it so they only get the summary or something like that. Let's talk about a few other options. So Fathom's one we've used, we really like. Microsoft Teams will do this as well, especially if you've got Copilot functionality with your Microsoft 365 subscription. So that is definitely an option. And then one that's a new player in the market in the last, say, 6 or 8 months is a company called Sonix. And they do something very similar to Fathom. So a lot of great options out there. It's worth taking a look. I think it'll save you a ton of time, and it'll keep your clients informed on what happened in the meetings and what they need to do so you can move their case along. Lastly, let's talk about document scanning. Now, we're still immense fans of the ScanSnap line of scanners, but obviously those aren't something you could carry around in your pocket, and they're not something you can depend on your clients having access to. It hasn't been lost on document management and document storage vendors that we all carry around phenomenally good cameras in our pockets and in our purses. How can they take advantage of that? Well, let's talk about a couple of new features that have come down through Dropbox, Apple Notes, and I'm going to demonstrate something unique with Clio for clients here in a minute. For example, with Dropbox, they've built in a document scanner into the mobile app. So you open the Dropbox app, you tell it you want to scan a document, you hold the phone over that document, it finds the 4 corners of the document, meaning physically, not legally, takes the picture, and then it says, turn to the next page, and it keeps going, and it'll build the file, and then you can send it anywhere that works with Dropbox. Apple Notes for iOS users has this built in as well. You can take advantage of it. It works nearly identically to Dropbox. The note gets stored in Apple Notes, but you can, of course, move it anywhere you want. It produces a PDF, totally interchangeable with anything else that would handle PDFs. What I also want to show you is a feature that comes in for Clio users if they give their clients access to the client portal and the Clio for Clients app. So with a smartphone here, let me just show you, your client could go out and take a picture of the documents. They're just holding their camera over, it's going to take a picture, and then they can type a little note and send it off. So I took a picture while we were doing that, got my little card here that's going to be the stand-in for our document. When I go over as the attorney, I'm in Clio, I get a notice here with a little red dot that I have a communication. I can click on that, and it shows me in my client portal, I have a message from me, essentially, as a client, and it says, here's the letter I received. So I could go ahead and I could click on it. It gives me the entire transcript of what's gone on in our Clio for Clients chat thus far, and I can click on that document, and it's going to open it within Clio. You'll notice, of course, that it's also associated with my Clio matter because Clio knows that I'm a client and what matter I have open with the firm. And so here's that document that I took a picture of. So if your clients are getting documents in postal mail and they need to get them to you, this is an excellent way to do it. If you're not a Clio using firm, of course, you could use the Dropbox, you could use Apple Notes or any number of other great scanner type apps that just use our wonderful cameras on our smartphones to take advantage of this wherever we are.